Good day, everybody. Back at it. Sorry for the I don't know if you for not having notes this week, or for most of the week not having anything up. I'm sure you guys don't mind that. Um, I'll just share the news with you. I had a little baby girl a couple days ago, so I was at the hospital for a couple days, and yeah, now I'm back home trying to get things organized. So something a little bit different. My printer's not working, so I have the note here on my computer, which I'll just kind of read through it and then do the answers here. So my printer's broken, and my stand for my phone is also broken. I don't even know where it is. So I had my little tripod here, and it broke for my phone. So I'll be holding it and doing the questions. Okay, so we're starting 7.1. I don't know if we're going to get fully through chapter 7, even though it is the most difficult one, but it's probably the most important. It is the most important one for anyone who's taking data management next year in university. So I'll do my best to get through as much as I can in chapter 7, and hopefully make it as easy as possible for you guys. But it is definitely the most difficult chapter. The first 2 or 3 sections aren't very difficult. It's when we get further to 7.4, 7.5 where it starts being kind of weird, I guess. So what else I want to say? The week after, we will be having a CPT. Okay, so I will make an announcement on the website about what dates and times. So the date will be, I think, probably Tuesday, Thursday, not next week, the week after, and it's going to be a specific time. Okay, so you're going to have to log in at those times, complete the work, and hand it in. So I'm going to give you, it's going to be maybe 1 page of questions, or 1 page back and front, and you're going to have about an hour and a half, 2 hours to complete it, and then you'll have to hand it in at the end of those 2 hours. Okay, and that's for the CPT. It's worth 30% of your mark. Obviously, it is optional, so if you didn't do it, it's not going to damage your mark. But if you're not doing so well, this is an opportunity for you definitely to raise your mark quite a bit. All right, so going through the questions here. So first one, frequency polygon. Line segments that join midpoints of the top of each column in a frequency histogram. Right, I'll do that with an example. Okay, so histogram we know. So a histogram is different than the bar graph. But it kind of looks like a bar graph, but bar graphs are spaced out. Histograms are touching together. A frequency histogram is the same as a regular histogram. Okay, and then we're going to do a frequency polygon, and all we're doing is drawing lines at the top of each of the bars, and I'll do that when we get to the example here. Okay, so number 1, a cubit measures the distance from the elbow to the tip of the outstretched middle finger. Mr. Mackenzie's class has 28 students. Each student determines the length of a cubit using his or her arm. So usually when I do this, we do this in class. I usually get you students, to measure your cubits, and then we record the data on the board. But so since that is not possible, I made up a bunch of results today. So a cubit, so if you go my arm, it goes from my elbow to your middle finger. Okay, so from your elbow all the way to your outstretched middle finger. That is called a cubit. Okay, so I just put up some results here. So first, create a frequency table. Okay, so I've pre-done a frequency table. So I grouped them in going up by 2s. So each one has a group of 2. Okay, so we're going to tally it up, and then we're going to see what the frequency is. And then after, we're going to create the histogram and the frequency polygon, and then we're going to calculate the mean. Okay, so just something very important. You'll notice that there's overlapping numbers. So 41 happens in these two, 43, 45, 47, 49, so on. So the numbers overlap. Okay, you're going to see this in your homework. So the general rule is, say I have an answer that is 41, I'm going to put that in the lower one. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes, we're going to put it into the lower column. Okay, so if you had a 41, you're going to put it in the one that's lower. Okay, and then same here, if you have a 43, you're going to put into the lower one. Okay, the back of the book, or the questions in the textbook, they sometimes mix them up. So sometimes they put it into the lower one, sometimes they put it into the higher one. Okay, so it kind of mixes it up a bit. So we're always going to put it into the lower category. Okay, so you have all the results on your page. The first one's 39.5, 40.2, 41, we're going to keep here, 48.7, 45.3, 49, 51.2, 42.8, 47.5, 40.2, 48.3, 52, 42.6, 43.9, 44.1, 40.7, 46.5, 47.3, 41.2, 49.5, 47.6, 43.6, 50.3, 45, 41.6, 46.8, 47.6. Go. All right. So I kind of, sorry, my dog now wants to join me. Okay, so it should have been something like a normal distribution, but since I was just making them up on the fly, it kind of balanced them. So we have 5 here, 4. Like this should have been probably the lowest category of these, this one and this one, but this is what the results came out to be. Okay, so 5, 3, 7, 2, and 2. Okay, so we have the frequency here, and now we are going to draw them. And I realized I forgot to put a y-axis, so just give me a second. Okay, so I'm just here we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so, and there goes. So the first one goes up to 5. Sorry. I'm just getting my ruler. So 5, 4, 5. Sorry, just 1 second. Sorry, just give me a second. So I probably should have paused it, but doing the histogram still. So 5, next one's up to 3, then we go up 7, two and 2. Okay, so this is our histogram here. So in this case, it's pretty evened out. Okay, so that would be, we did a table, so the frequency table is what we did here. Then we have the histogram, which I just drew, and now we're gonna do a frequency polygon. Okay, so this is what happens. So we're gonna make a dot at every top, in the middle of every bar, at the top of every bar. Okay, and you also need to put a dot before it and a dot after. And now what we do is we're going to connect all the dots using a ruler. So 1 second. Okay, so I've connected all the spots there. So we're drawing each of the midpoints of all the tops of the bars, and that is called a frequency polygon. Okay, and when we do points before and after, just to indicate that there aren't any points before or after. In some cases, there might be, say, a blank spot and then another bar over here. So you'll still go to this point and then go back up to this point and then down again. Okay, so if you have a space and then an extra bar, still go down to the x-axis and then back up to the bar and then down the x-axis again. Okay, so now our last point, our last question says to calculate the mean length using the table. And the reason why I said use the table, because I don't want you to actually add them all up together. I want you to use that midpoint formula. Okay, so it was the frequency times the midpoint divided by the total frequency. So if I recall, it was each frequency times by each midpoint. So this is mean. I'm putting population because it is for my class. Sorry, I'm out of focus here. Okay, and then over the total frequency. Okay, so our first one is 5. So our frequency is 5. So we're in 5 times. Now we're doing the midpoint of each of these. So the midpoint of this one is 40. So times 40 plus 4 times 42 plus 5 times 44 plus 3 times 46. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, I'm just going to draw that line. So the total frequency is 28. I apologize if you hear my dogs upstairs. I have a visitor and they're going crazy. Okay. Okay, so 5 times 40 is 200. 42, 84, 168 plus 138. Okay, let's tally up. 200 plus 168 is 220. So we have 1266 divided by 28, and our mean length is 45.2 centimeters. Okay, so again, sorry for all the noise and just, oh my goodness, just been a crazy week. And this kind of is added to it. So we did all the questions here. So we did our table, we did our graph, and then we calculated the mean, which is our average. Okay, so 45.2 is our final answer, and this note is posted online. So now the homework is there at the bottom. So page 327, 1 to 3, 5 to 7, 9A, C, D, and number 12. Hope everyone is safe at home. I know everything's starting to open up again, but I hope you're still keeping safe, and I hope at the same time you are enjoying the weather. Have a great. Oh, let's see. It's been a while since I posted. Let's see any birthday shout outs we got going. So let's see. Actually, none till the 9th. So a couple more days. Alrighty, I'm gonna have a good day, and I'll post some more information about the CPT over the weekend. All right, take care. Bye.